Hello friends and welcome to our channel. Our today's video is about Danish woman discovers a missing link from the past in the island of Hjarno, leaving everyone confused. But before we start, please make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, hit the notification bell, and smash that like button. We really appreciate your continuous support. There are times when a person is just in the right place at the right time, right? This story is based on something like that. We're sure you'd love the way things worked out for this woman. She discovered something even when she couldn't have thought because that wasn't her job. But eventually she did and found something astonishing that made several researchers and archaeologists scratch their head. Let's just dive into the story and find out what's that thing that brought this story to the media, and soon all anybody could talk about was this discovery. What's better than a long, silent walk? We think taking a walk is the easiest and most soothing activity a person can do. Even she was on her daily routine walk when she discovered the most amazing thing in the world, which was lost in time. Completely stunned by the discovery, she decided to explore the area even more this time. Therese Refsgaard works as a dental assistant, but other than her profession, she always had this keen interest in archaeology. Even when she was a kid, exploring things made her happy. She used to discover various kinds of stones and pebbles that had some weird carvings or which looked different from others. This interest and curious nature made her to discover something and amazing that astonished everybody. The discovery was so huge that later, when words got out of the archaeologist, people had intervened to properly conclude on her discovery. Therese wouldn't have imagined that her hobby would make her this important. Though she'd been involved in several amateur archaeology digs, this was something else entirely. Whenever she got some spare time, it was time for some exploring. Discovering new things made her really excited, but it wasn't on a daily basis. She found some stuff from the past. But this day, when she almost thought there's nothing more to look for, she stumbled on something amazing, leaving her baffled. What could it be that even involved the professional archaeologist? Therese had been involved with this enthusiastic amateur archaeologist group that takes part in several exploring events held by some organizations or groups. So if you have an interest in archaeology, then it's better to work with the group rather than doing it alone. They say working alone and being an amateur in the field makes the task difficult because there's always a possibility of ruining a find. But Therese was lucky that she'd been involved with these groups that knew her really well about exploring and how one should start when finding something important, because what she found were some missing links that allowed the researchers to connect the past with the present. You'll be amazed to see the discovery. Therese, the amateur archaeologist, was investigating the muddy island of Hjarno, which is near Horsens. You might ask, but why the island of Hjarno? There's a reason for that. The island of Hjarno has a very long history of unearthing artifacts like arrowheads, dating back to several centuries. And because of that, Therese was here searching for something bigger than arrowheads. Lucky her that she found something bigger than these arrowheads. Therese didn't have any plans to go to the island of Hjarno, but while reading a book related to archaeology, she read about the place. She took out the map to locate its location. She was excited to see that it wasn't far away from where she lives. She felt like it would be a good day. Excited about the adventure, she was prepared, and a metal detector in hand, she was ready to explore the island of amazing things yet to be found. We all have several stories about a kid or a man wandering in a forest and stumbling upon something precious that was only destined to be found by them. We know the stories, and even Therese might have known some. But who would have thought that she would be the one who is destined to find something this big, hidden for centuries, only to discover more and more? She couldn't believe her eyes when she first holds it in her hands. Therese reached the island of Hjarno, was surprised to see several amateur archaeologists already present there. Laughing at her luck, she decided to enjoy the day as much as she can. There are several spots known to the archaeologist where many discoveries have been made before, and looking at the groups, Therese could tell they're all pretty much aware. Therese knew if she starts her exploration with the other people, she won't find anything. She played a gamble, the right move, and she won. As we told you that the island of Hjarno has a very rich history where researchers have found several artifacts, and Therese was aware of that. Not only her, but there were other people who too knew about the abundance that lies on the island. But even so, she was the one who found one of the amazing links of history. She didn't follow the herd and chose her own location to explore, and her intuition was right and fate was set. When every other person kept looking in the location which was already crowded, Therese decided to look in the location where nobody thought of exploring. Her metal detector in hand, she moved towards the area. She loved her hobby, and even if she wouldn't have found anything, she wouldn't have felt about it. It was a very harsh truth that when you expect things in the field, there's a major chance of disappointments. But she was honest towards her work, and she was in the right place at the right time. She discovered the most amazing thing in a place that was left alone only for her. And there it was, the beep on the metal detector. Therese knew that it won't be easy at first, as she has to put her effort to unearth something precious. She was aware of all the challenges a person goes through in this field. She was prepared for it. She started to investigate the area and moved really slow to examine every inch of the field. Moving at a pace similar to snail, her metal detector started beeping in a slow tone. Excited to hear the sound, she kept moving to search the origin of the thing that was making the detector ring. With every step, the beep became louder, and soon she was standing above the thing. What could it be? We're all aware of the fact that archaeologists take a very good care and long process to finally unearth the stuff they find. Therese knew that she'd found something, and that too so fast. She started digging the area below her metal detector. Cautiously, she dug it really slow, trying not to ruin it. Because of her experiences from the archaeological groups, she knew she has to be careful, otherwise in a rush she could destroy the stuff completely. She took her time to dig it out of the ground. Now, what's that? Her metal detector sensed something below, and she decided to check it out. She started digging around the ground carefully, only not to destroy it in her excitement. Surprised by the event, she did find something, but it wasn't the same thing the story's about. It was just a piece of metal. Laughing at her discovery, she thought of leaving this location and going back to the area where everybody was busy finding something. She thought she made a bad decision by choosing this area. Thankfully, something made her stick to her plan of exploring the area, and she was able to discover the most amazing piece of history that even shocked the researchers when they found out about it. When Therese thought she had found something, which turned out to be a piece of metal, she felt bad. It was very genuine of her to feel that way in that very moment, but Therese didn't even expect to find anything in the first place. Her plan to excavate the area was very random. She picked her gadget and left the spot behind, only to find the greatest archaeological finding of all time. The area in which she was exploring wasn't that big, and it didn't take Therese a very long time to completely search the area. She was almost done. When she thought this area had nothing to offer, she sat under the shade of a tree in that field. The air was cool, making her body relax. She sat there after a long search. Beep, beep, beep. She woke from the deep sleep under the tree, and the sound was coming from the metal detector. What? The alarm? She thought. Therese was tired from all the activity. She sat under the tree in the shade to calm her body. She fell asleep and woke up when she heard the metal detector buzzing a loud sound. She had no idea how this metal detector, which was in her hand, was now lying near her feet. Kept on buzzing like a warning. She stood up and removed the detector from the place. Soon she found the most amazing thing in the world. The sleep was needed, and now she was feeling refreshed. Everything was set. She was set to dig up the area again. What happened next brought the crowd near her. Therese, without wasting any more time, started digging the area, but cautiously because of all the destroying the stuff in the rush. She kept digging, but that thing which made her metal detector go buzz wasn't anywhere. Was the metal detector faulty? She thought. To confirm it, she took the detector in the same location where she was digging and started moving it. The detector started buzzing again, and Therese realized that she has to go deeper before she could find what it is that was completely taken away her sleep. Soon she'd see what an amazing thing she's found that would wake up the archaeological community. Therese was getting tired because of all the digging. Few even came to help her out, but she was so much into digging that she didn't even realize that few were standing under the tree. They kept staring at this woman who was completely in some other zone. Therese's eyes started to become wider because she saw something extremely amazing. Excited by the find, she was digging like mad without realizing that she could destroy the stuff. But to her, that doesn't matter, as all her tiredness was in some other world now. At last, she found it. She screamed in excitement, and the crowd could only see a woman holding something in her hand, jumping like she'd found a new meaning to life. Therese, the amateur archaeologist, actually discovered 32 pieces of jewelry. They were gold and pearls and whatnot. But the most amazing thing is that they were 1,500 years old. We're not kidding. It was an official statement given by the researchers who later investigated her discovery and told her that these ornaments are 1,500 years old, and which has a very interesting origin. You'll be surprised to see these 32 pieces of jewelry belong to one of the most debatable eras. According to Mads Raven, the research head at Vejle Museums, these pieces of jewelry belong from the 6th century, which is much more than the Viking period. Years can go by without amateur archaeologists finding gold, and some never do. So this is amazing, Therese told DR. first thing which caught her eyes was the gold, but when she kept digging, she found several pieces of beads, pendants, a needle, and small coins that probably seemed to be used as a currency back then. Her discovery helped the researchers find several answers to the questions that lingered over the archaeological community. Her discovery is one of the most incredible discoveries till date. Though it was Therese who discovered these amazing artifacts that belonged to the 6th century, it was the researchers who investigated them thoroughly. They found that 27 of the objects from the discovered 32 pieces were pure gold. The find suggested that people from Hjarno had contacted with the Roman Empire, Mads explained. The island of Hjarno has a very interesting history, as this discovery of Therese wasn't the first to be found. There have been several other exploring where people have found several types of artifacts and arrowheads. It's also said that these artifacts are washed up along the shores and with time are buried deep under the muddy soil, only to be found by people like Therese. According to archaeologists, these golden pieces that were discovered on the island of Hjarno by Therese Refsgaard were actually used as a sacrifice. They believed that these gold pieces were offered to please the angry gods. And the theory even makes sense, because how else these gold ornaments ended up in the ground and remained hidden for such a long time. Mads even said further about the discovery that Romans probably took part in raids there. So our find is a small legacy from a turbulent time in world history in which gold speaks its own clear language. It's because of this discovery that the researchers are able to connect the dots with the Roman connection, and all thanks to Therese and the unique styles and patterns of the gold. The head of research on the jewelry told some amazing things about the gold pieces. In terms of craft, they're completely unique with gold markings that almost form spirals, he explained. That's evidence of a high level of skill. One researcher who writes for phys.org also wrote about the various theories related to the discovery made by Therese. We think that it was a typical offering made in hope that the gods would help those who buried the treasure through a difficult time, and we know that it dates to the 6th century. The researcher added further, was it intended to appease angry gods and end the poor summers and dark skies following the El Salvador volcanic eruption? Or was it thanks to the ultimate collapse of the Western Roman Empire a few decades earlier, whereby the gold was brought to Denmark by returning new rich aristocrats who defined a new ritual practice and religion based on the Nordic gods? We do not know. The volcanic eruption, about which the researcher talked about, occurred in El Salvador in 536 AD. It's believed that the impact of this volcano eruption killed over 100,000 people in an instant. The eruption was so impactful and huge that not just El Salvador, but there were other places to which felt the impact of this volcanic eruption. According to the Byzantine historian Procopius, the sky was filled with ashes for over a year after the volcanic eruption took place. He even wrote, "The sun gave forth its light without brightness, and it seemed exceedingly like the sun in eclipse, for the beams it shed were not clear." Even today, this volcanic eruption is considered as the most severe eruptions of all time. Researchers even believe that because of this natural disaster, there was a short span but extremely powerful climate change. The climate change would have made the life of poor farmers a living hell in summers. The climate change would have ruined the crops, and survival would have been pretty much difficult, and people sacrificing their gold to reduce the impact makes sense. Even today, the discovery made by Therese is studied with great interest, and researchers from all over the world come around to study and know more about the gold. Today, the gold had been kept in the Vejle museums and is actually on display for the public to see this amazing discovery. Therese Refsgaard is amazingly proud of herself. The discovery has changed her life, and her simple hobby finally paid off when she discovered the most amazing pieces of history. That too when she was least expecting it. Today, Therese is busy with her dental profession, and her hobby is still with her. Whenever she gets the time, she takes out her favorite gadget and the world is hers. She believes there's still so many things hidden deep inside the heart of the earth, waiting for people like us to reveal them for the world, to see how amazing the time was and how amazing it is today. We hope she finds more of them. The discovery has contributed to the understanding of ancient periods. The artifacts that Therese found helped the researchers to understand the people and the culture from a little close. Her discovery gave the scholars one of the missing pieces that were lost, and today some of the questions have been answered, and it's all because of this discovery. Therese Refsgaard's discovery has brought us closer to the past. It's because of her efforts and passion we know a little more about the past from which we came from and are still unaware of. Even today, nothing concrete could be said about the future. And why is that? It's because we don't have the sources which could tell us what were we. This is the only thing we know about ourselves, and it's the fact that we're humans and we die as one. But the humans have been living on this planet for an amazingly long period. So what was their contribution that's brought us to this stage in which we are right now? No one could tell anything for sure, and it's the uncertainty in which we live in. All the answers revolving around us lies in the past. We do need people like Therese who keep pushing themselves only to find these answers that could tell what we really are. The past is such a mystery that every second the present is moving towards the future, making it past. We hope that someday we're going to find every answer, but the question is where we would be in the past or in the present. Did you enjoy today's story? Let us know what you think about it in the comments. If you believe this story was amazing, don't hesitate to share it with your buddies. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell so you'll never miss your daily dose of incredible stories.